I also like it when I completely mess up the sync and it's like, good evening, live. Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lassos, and welcome to The Click. Today we have a very, very special session for you all. Sometimes in life, it can be very difficult to tell if you're overreacting or not. Emotions are really difficult and all of that, whether it be in relationships or work life or family. And that's why today on Click Psychology, we're gonna go through it together. And I have a very good example that I figured we would read through together so you can get the gist of what we're gonna talk about today.
Am I overreacting because I'm upset my husband cheated on me? Hey, it hurt my feelings when you cheated on me with my mom, sister, and hamster. It also scared me when you broke my neck and shot my dog because I have cancer. Can we talk?
I hope you
Oh, okay. I love you, fat bitch.
You see, these are those kind of situations where it's very difficult to tell if you're overreacting or not, because it's just perfectly normal little quirky relationship exchanges, right? I feel like I can do such a good reaction with glasses on. When someone says something outrageous, you can just be like, you know, like that is perfect. So you guessed it right. Today we're gonna dig through r/am I overreacting? And I really love subreddits like this because there is no in between. The contrast is amazing. It goes from 0 to 100 with no warning. First you have a post that is like, my god, am I overreacting because my husband microwaved my cat and served it as Christmas dinner for my parents? And then the next post is like, my god, am I overreacting because I blew up my ex's car? You know, it's like there's no in between. There is no in between. It's absolutely amazing. So let's dig into it together, shall we? And as always with these kind of subreddits, I'm gonna start off by sorting it by like popular, so it's like the most trendy post, and then I'm gonna sort by controversial, which is always when it gets completely unhinged. So I'm hoping this video is just gonna kind of like escalate unhinged-wise, which is always very entertaining because we get to warm up a bit together. Enjoy. Mwah. Am I overreacting, or should I report this children's coach? Hey, little buddy, this is Coach Aldo. I'm your mom's neighbor. Remember me? I'm the one that gave you permission to get the soccer ball from my yard. I remember how good you fetched that ball. Now you remember me? Listen, kiddo, I know it's late right now for you to be on the phone, but tomorrow after school, text me. I am a cool coach. Ooh, you know he's cool when he spells cool with a K. Try me. Text me, please. Let's be great friends. How old is this kid that he's allegedly texting? We both have Aldo in our name and it's no coincidence. The you awake at this time? Huh? Receive this text. There is some more where he explains he thought I was a 13-year-old boy, said he got my number from my mom, and she wanted him, coach, to offer guidance, kind of like a mentor figure. While I understand a single mother seeking good male role models for her son, if that were the case, why did she give him a fake number? Also, the first text gives me the freaking creeps. I easily found this dude information. Should I contact anyone about this? Mother, school authorities, or am I overreacting? Yeah, you should probably report this to someone. That sounds really shady. Hang on, just making sure I got this right. This guy texted you at 9:20 p.m. thinking he was texting a 13-year-old boy. He then told you that this was the request of the mother of said 13-year-old boy. Yeah, that's kind of true. That just sounds like backpedaling, doesn't it? No, trust me, this was the parent that wanted me to do this. And that she gave him the boy's number, which is actually your number, so this guy could mentor her 13-year-old son. If that's the case, then hell no. You are NOR. There is a lot going on here, and none of it is good. Yeah, I don't think you're overreacting at all. These text messages give me absolutely rancid vibes, especially as someone who has worked as a teacher in the past and also has a lot of friends who work as teachers. The boundaries that people set between like teacher-student relationships are very clear. I have experienced this in person and also have seen my friends set these kind of boundaries, and it's very clear and it's very obvious that it's like, sure, a mentor figure to an extent, but you don't cross certain boundaries and so on and so forth. This is like crossing every single boundary, like instantly, and then it backtracks when you call it out and be like, hey, you got the wrong number. And it's like, but it was his mom that asked me to do this. It's like, yeah, no, I don't think his mom asked you to creep on him at 10 in the night. You know, that sounds really whack. So no, report this dude, especially if he's working with kids. This is creepy as hell. Am I overreacting? After I found out my boyfriend's online friend group I became part of 2 years ago has been just him the whole time. Wait, what do you mean? Do you mean that he doesn't actually have friends and it's all just his alt accounts? Is that what you mean? That's insane.
I just want to know why. When it finally came time for the Hawaii trip, how were you going to explain that? What were you thinking?
You know something I've noticed about you? You can never just be calm, and there always has to be an issue. I know you were raised in a volatile environment and still have to relearn a lot about healthy relationship dynamics, kind of like making people up that don't exist. Hey there, girlfriend, you're creeped out that I made up my entire friend group and none of the people you've talked to for the past 2 years are actually real. You know, that's actually because this is perfectly normal. It's just because you had a childhood that you think this is weird. Okay, so it's actually your problem. Man, what the f***? But it's like you thrive on chaos only. And we were gonna see Wicked tonight. Pfft, I guess there that goes.
You cannot be serious. I deserve answers. I am honestly so creeped out. Basically, half my life for the past 2 years have been a complete and total lie, and you were behind all of it.
Okay, don't be dramatic. You know this isn't a big deal. You're just giddy to harp on this and make a bigger issue. Okay, let me extrapolate this for a second, because I get really weird vibes, right? So this boyfriend in this situation has made up a bunch of people in which I'm assuming this girl is spending a lot of time with in like Discord and video games and that kind of stuff, you know? Because if they met IRL, it would be pretty obvious that it's just the same guy walking around in different wigs or, you know, mustache glasses or whatever. You know, it gets pretty obvious if it's IRL. So this is like online friendships. So it means that this dude, this boyfriend, is making up people for her to spend time with instead of her going out and actually making real friends. Is this just like controlling relationship behavior but with extra steps? It's like she can't make other friends and meet other boys if I am secretly all of her friends. That is insane, man. I guess I should have been less oblivious. But since a little before we started dating in 2022, I was added to my boyfriend's 3-person Instagram group chat with what he explained were some of his closest online friends. The other 2 accounts seemed like real people because they had real followers and comments on their posts. And drastically different aesthetics and looks to them. Okay, wait a second, that makes it way worse. I thought this was only like, you know, an alt account on Discord, or having a second Steam profile, or whatever. He actually made entire personas on Instagram in a group chat. You know, that is insane. Can you imagine that? You invite your partner to a group chat with all your friends, and it's just you and your 5 alt accounts. What? We eventually made a Discord server for us that alone was convincing enough since multiple times we had all been active at the same time. We never voice chatted, but I used to never voice chat either, so I didn't think twice. The group got closer though as more and more time passed since I was first added to their group chat. And last month we got together and planned a research trip to Hawaii for August. We live on the east coast of the US. Like, we booked everything. I mean, if I were to guess, you would just have gone there with your boyfriend and all the other people would have mysteriously gotten sick or something like that. You know, that's probably what was gonna happen last minute. So imagine my surprise when I'm over at his house tonight and his computer is open, and I just want to log into my Google Docs when I accidentally stumble across, first of all, follower bot sites. And I'm also him logged in and chatting with me as one of the individuals I thought had become close with. No way! And I just got this sinking feeling. I didn't jump to the idea that they could be fake either. I was like, maybe he just has their login since they're all so close and is way too interested in their messages. But then I noticed their only chats were in the group chats and the server. And the real kicker was the email address he was signed up for under was his backup email with his full name. Oh my god, girl, totally overreacting, finding out your BFF for life in this Discord server was actually your boyfriend LARPing as your friends all along. You know, the only reason you think this is weird is because your family was volatile. You know, this is totally normal relationship vibes. During my snooping, I gradually became devastatingly confident that he wasn't behind just one, but both accounts. I have never seen his face so red, and he just absolutely panicked and started shouting at me to get out of his business. I couldn't even form the right words to say to him. In the end, I just walked out of his apartment sobbing. It's very early in the morning. I get that, but this screenshot is what he has to say, and I am starting to feel crazy. Am I overreacting about my discovery? No, I don't think you're overreacting at all. This gives me some really weird vibes, and I'm wondering why he did this in the first place. And I can figure out maybe 2 reasons why this would have happened. The first one is something like I talked about first, right? He has some insecurity issues or control issues, and he thinks that if he just LARPs as all your friends, that means you're not going to talk to anyone else, and all your time belongs to him, basically. It's like a weird runaround way of being more controlling of your partner and your partner's time and who they spend time with. Number 2 is that this was some kind of initial test in the relationship that went completely overboard, which I think is a pretty toxic thing to do in the first place. You know, that kind of vibe when, you know, someone asks a friend of theirs and be like, oh my god, can you flirt with my partner to see if they respond positively to it or not? You know, those kind of tests. But he did it himself with an alt account to see if you would flirt with other people in the group chat. So those are the two things I can imagine this was, and then it just went completely overboard. But it's creepy as hell, man. It's creepy as hell. Oh my god, get out of that relationship. This is so weird. I'm also gonna roll down the window a bit, because no natural light in my studio. Only Reddit. Am I overreacting because my 20F boyfriend, 21M, prayed to Trump at my family's dinner? What do you mean prayed to Trump? He can't hear you. He's not Jesus.
Hey, are you home yet? Can we talk?
What?
I'm still kind of off-put by the prayer. Was that a joke? Deadass couldn't tell.
What's funny about it?
It was a prayer to fucking Donald Trump. Like, why?
What do you mean?
My parents were confused as hell. Isn't that like false idol or blasphemous or anything?
That's like the last thing I would be concerned about. I would be equally concerned if you started praying to, I don't know, Beyonce or whatever, you know? It's really strange. Thank you, Ed Sheeran, for this bountiful dinner that my mother cooked. Like, why? If he's ordained by God himself, I don't see the issue. He literally saved him. What do you mean? Who saved who?
But why are we doing this now?
You brought this up.
No, I mean, why did we start the prayer thing literally today?
I didn't. I thought we talked about this.
What? We haven't talked about this at all. You have to have known. I would think it's weird.
I said he was saved by God during the assassination. That was proof. He was chosen. So I speak to him. I don't see what the issue is with this. Oh, okay, this is giving me really strange vibes, okay? This makes me very uncomfortable.
You know we disagree politically, so why would you pray to a man in front of my whole family and I? This just seems really out of character. Can I call you instead?
Why are you making this a big deal? Everyone can be wrong on stuff. I don't judge you or your family. Yeah, it's really easy to be so above it all and be like, everyone can be wrong sometimes, especially when it's you being wrong, you know? Oh, so gracious of you.
It's not about who's wrong or right. Praying to Trump is just straight up insane.
You're being childish.
Bro, straight up answer my call. How are you real?
I'll call you after work. This seems very ridiculous and laughable. You know, this reads like a satire post on Twitter where it's like, oh my god, my MAGA uncle was praying to Trump on Thanksgiving. You know, it sounds like a post. But if it is real, I would say he might need some help for this kind of stuff, and he should probably talk to someone, especially with the way he describes it, like he's the chosen one and blah blah blah. This reminds me of a very brief experience. I'm not gonna go into great detail about it because I don't think it's appropriate, but I had a brief experience with someone who was dealing with these kind of like delusions, and they went into really weird territory, and they assumed things about people around them, and it went into like almost conspiratorial territory, but on a spiritual level. It was very strange, and eventually they found out that they needed help with certain issues, and they got it. It wasn't that they were a bad person, they were just dealing with this very horrible thing that they needed help with, and I think that might be the case here as well, because this is very strange, and also stay safe, because man, this gives me odd vibes.
Am I overreacting? My friend went crazy when the guy she likes made a drawing of me.
Oh, yes indeed, draw me like one of your French mood dangs.
Warning, unhinged rant plus racism, context in post.
Oh, the wholesome little racism between friends. Oh, yes, indeed. I can't wait.
Hey sis, I say this with good intentions because I don't want to see you get hurt, but Blorp isn't into you like that, so it's best you just forget about him and move on. Like, I really care about you, so I don't want to see you get into shite. Like, you deserve so much better.
Lol, what the frick? I'm not even into him. What the heck are you waffling on about? I am laughing.
I can see you're trying to be close with him, and it's embarrassing, because I feel bad for you, not gonna lie. You're not his type, and that's okay, girl.
Limmerfow, who you trying to get close? Are you drunk? Is this about the drawing he made of me, lol? So is that why you suddenly started acting weird? You're mad at me for something he did? Huh?
That drawing means nothing! He does things cause he feels bad for you. You see, the only thing you deserve, Stacy, is pity. Never love, only pity. You just don't see it.
We're good friends and he's obviously a sweet guy. What exactly did I do wrong though? I am trying to understand. Why are you so pressed?
Listen, you guys aren't that close and he's obviously not interested in you. You know how many times I've been to his place? We've been fricking since October.
This is like when people overshare about things that no one asked about. Hey there, I took such a massive dump yesterday. Okay, yeah, it's pretty natural to go take a dump, but you don't need to tell the world, okay? It's fine.
Y'all never even hugged. He's awkward around you because he doesn't find you attractive.
Wait, so that's the logic? Anytime you act awkward around someone, it's because you find them absolutely and reluctantly hideous. Not because it's like the opposite and you're like awkward because you have a crush on someone. At least in my experience, when I stumble with my words and act like a buffoon, it's when I'm actually crushing on someone and, you know, you're worried about how you look. When you're not crushing on someone, you're typically way less nervous. Okay, this is like the most backwards logic I've ever seen in my life. Or he's just an awkward guy. That's also perfectly fine, and I can totally relate to that.
Also, no offense, but he's only into tall white girls. Have you seen his exes? They're literally 10 out of 10 model types. So I am more of his type because I am a 10 out of 10 model while you're a short little piece of shit who only deserves pity. Anyway, so I'm more his type, not some ghetto Barbie hood rat. This is someone you call a friend? All right. Men like him want to take home a classy lady, not some porn star.
Did you call your friend a Barbie hood rat porn star who's also short? And you're a 10 out of 10, and your friend is obviously not. How can you be this insecure? If I were you, I would just send these text messages to that guy. That would be the most hilarious thing ever. Lol, ghetto Barbie hood rat sounds hot, actually. And I am confused, because why are you calling me a porn star? Isn't that a good thing, Limau? It's funny how you show your true racist self just because you feel threatened.
I'm not racist at all. I'm just telling you the truth and protecting your heart.
What?
Everything he does is calculated and he's only used you because you're so easy.
Ah yes, you're being so used, you know, being manipulative and taken behind the curtain because he wanted to draw a picture of someone. Wow, yeah, that's what a victim.
He feels bad for you because he probably thinks you're autistic.
Oh my god. Hey, I'm gonna pity make a drawing for this girl because she's short, not a tall 10 out of 10 white girl who's also autistic, so better draw a picture of her than act awkward around her. Man, what is this, man? This is insane.
You collect rocks while I play with his balls.
What? Oh my god, what's the correlation between this? And why does collecting cool rocks somehow become mutually exclusive with fondling balls? I think you can collect rocks and fondle balls at the same time just fine.
We are not the same. He's basically sweet to you cause do autistic things like that? It's not genuine.
Is she gonna drop like a few R words or something later down the thread? It feels like it's going in that direction, doesn't it? Why would you make fun of someone for having a hobby, Lemefau? What are your hobbies? What do you do when you're not sleeping with him to get commitment? You've been flinging your weary piece at him since October and I'm getting scraps of commitment. I'm tired, boss. You're Fajuchi. Holy shit. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Damn, it's kind of getting down in the mud with the piggies, but it's kind of called for in this situation. Oh my god, because your friend has been going bananas. Might as well torch this bridge and blow it up while you're at it. Holy shit, man. And then you have the audacity to be mad at me for something I didn't even do. What the frick? And I don't even like him like that, as I said. Why are you bringing this petty poo onto me and not him? You are sick.
We did the naughty stuff over 40 times. R/I have the naughty. He actually likes me but can't say the same for you, to be honest. What have you guys done together?
I mean, you're not even arguing with someone. The other girl in this situation, OP, is not even trying to have a relationship. She's like, oh yeah, I'm not interested in this guy.
Oh yeah, well we have done the bonky hadorkin durkins 50 billion times. Have you done that?
Well, no, obviously not, because I'm not into him like that.
Well, I have done it so...
You're arguing something that no one is arguing against. Alright, you're just arguing with yourself for no reason. Why?
Lol, nothing.
Well, to be fair, they did hug once. And he did draw her like one of his French moudings.
And the fact that he made that ugly drawing means nothing. Like I said, he feels bad for you because you're giving autism. Every time he texts you, there's a high chance he's balls deep in me.
Okay, wait. Wait, hold on. So you're saying that even when you're doing the deed together, that you've been doing a bajillion times according to you, he's still so bored that he's texting someone else. That's not a brag. Like, if I was together with someone on an intimate level and they started texting in the middle of it, I would be like, damn, this probably ain't meant to be. You know? That's not a good thing.
Mind your business, Birch.
What? You're actually not normal. Get help. I beg you.
He wants white babies, not some Latina mutts.
Got a weird flavor in my mouth there. Yeah, that was gross, and I was just reading it. I didn't even type it. Jesus Christ, man. Lol. Remember the other day when you were crying about having lines on your forehead? You have them because you're racist white trash, so your evil spirit shines through. It's time for a new round of Botox and fillers, sis. Your age is starting to show at the ripe age of 24. Lemau, get fricked, you racist psycho. Oh wait, you already have been by him and still not enough for a relationship. Oh my, chest rose emoji.
Oh wow, I can't believe you actually said that.
After you went on like racist rants and stuff for like 30 minutes straight. It's like those people that are always like, oh my god, you need to respect me, blah blah blah, but they're the least respectful people in existence. That's basically this girl.
This friendship is dead.
I'm gonna be honest, at this point, I don't think it was a friendship to begin with.
You're cruel and sick and demented, Birch. Never text or talk to me again. You were given up for adoption because your bio parents could see you would grow up to be evil, home-wrecking slut W-word. Back the frick off my man and mind your ghetto business. Smelly, ugly W-word.
Go to sleep, you illiterate Nazi. Honestly, at this point, I would just send these screenshots to the boy in question, because from the sounds of it, you're pretty decent friends, right? And if I was friends with someone, I would probably want to look out for my friend to not date someone like this. Okay, that's a perfectly valid thing to do. It's like, hey boy, just so you know, the girl that you're kind of like friends with benefiting or whatever is going around to your friends who happen to be women, spewing this kind of vitriolic racist BS, and also, by the way, talking about how you only want white babies or whatever. This is probably not someone you want to be speaking for you, like, ever. Okay? So, do him a favor and show him these text messages, okay? Because, goddamn, this is not gonna end well. Am I overreacting for telling my mom my girlfriend and I aren't coming to Christmas dinner? We'll try to be there around 4 p.m. then. It's about a 2-hour drive from our apartment.
Is girlfriend planning on coming with you?
Yeah, she's off work that day.
That's okay, thumbs up. Please just ask if she will tone it down some, since the grandkids will be there.
Tone it down?
Clothes, makeup, and please don't bring up the living situation.
Anything in particular, clothing-wise? Living situation?
She dresses very flamboyant and
woke. Imagine that you show up to family Christmas and the dress code is not woke. What does that even mean?
And it makes some of the family uncomfortable. You're all living together and not married. It sets a bad example for the grandchildren.
That's what they mean with the living situation. Oh my, yeah, God forbid you're like trying to live with someone and see if you mesh in a domestic situation before you decide to get married. Yeah, I would imagine that's like a step that normally comes first, right? At least in my experience, it's a pretty good thing to try before you put a ring on something. I'm gonna be honest, man. What the f***? Can we call to talk about this?
At work right now. Please just pass that along to her.
Okay, so you want him to lie to his nephews, I'm assuming it is, about not living with his girlfriend, and she also cannot dress woke. What is this family Christmas, man? Oh my god. I am not going to ask Blorp to change the way she dresses for your Christmas dinner. She's an adult, and I cannot promise that I will not mention something about our life during dinner.
And if she wants to bring a dish with potatoes in it, Aunt Blorp has to change dishes. Well, she cannot just come into our family and make everything uncomfortable. Being an adult sometimes means you have to think about other people's feelings.
Like you're not doing. You're just denying their entire existence, basically. That's very true. I think in this case, I need to think about my girlfriend's feelings. I think we may skip Christmas dinner.
That's a little bit extreme, don't you think?
Honestly, I don't think you're overreacting in this situation for taking your partner's side. I mean, it would be one thing if the partner was showing up in like, transparent bikinis or whatever to Christmas dinner. Like, wildly inappropriate clothing is of course gonna be uncomfortable. But I don't get the feeling that that is what they're talking about here, especially when you take into consideration that they're asking you to lie about sharing a household with your partner before you're married. That seems to be a pretty natural step, like figuring out if you fit in a domestic situation before you put a ring on something. That seems a pretty responsible thing to do. So I don't know. This mom seems a little bit too invested in her own beliefs past any kind of like pragmatic or realistic expectations. And they're trying to control other people's relationship and how they talk about their relationships because of it. Nah, this seems like a good thing to keep at an arm's length distance. And also like protecting the grandkids from this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure the grandkids are exposed to people who, I don't know, move in together before they're married on a quite regular basis. This isn't something unusual and wild you need to shield children from. Jesus Christ, man. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend threatens sewer slide. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. I need my freaking money. I literally have 0 nicotine, 0 none, 0 nicotine, 0 weed. That's where this starts. Sorry, didn't see your message. 0 money. I guess they mean money. You have no cigarette. 0 money, 0 gas, 0 everything. I have 0. I'm sorry, if I had any money left, I would give you some. It wouldn't matter, cause you wouldn't anyways. I was just trying to comfort you and be there, lol. Thanks. Nobody ever wants to freaking help me out. Everyone just wants to make me feel like poo for asking for help. Frick you. If you're gonna ignore me, frick you. It's just frustrating because last time I asked you for money, I pretty much had to beg you to give me $15, and if you didn't, I really wouldn't have made it home that day. This sounds like an addict. This sounds like an addict who hasn't gotten their fix, and is like extorting the people around them for money. This doesn't sound healthy at all. It was everything I could give. You didn't have to beg me, I was going to anyways. I was just at work. It's kind of frustrating when you feel alone in this world because the only person that seems to care about you seems to not be worried about your situation. I'm gonna be honest, acting like this is a pretty good shortcut to getting no one to care about your situation. Even if you are feeling bad, that doesn't justify treating your partner like absolute trash. And it was a complicated situation. Bruh, no you weren't, Lemao. It's not that I'm worried, but I also have a billion other things I'm worried about. I just tried to be there for you and you said frick you and lashed out at me. Like, what? I'm sorry. No, you're not. Just leave me then. Then just freaking leave me. If you're sorry, you would actually stop taking out your anger on me when it's something that isn't related to me or anything I did to you. Man, I kind of like these responses though, kind of putting their foot down but not like getting down in the mud with the piggy, so to say. This is very mature responses. I didn't take my anger out on you. Scroll up like 5 messages, bro. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you did. Saying I wouldn't anyway, saying frick you to me, that's what it is. I am freaking frustrated because you don't ever help me out, and every time you're in this position, I'm always first in freaking line to help you out. I doubt that. This doesn't feel like a two-way street at all, I'm gonna be honest. Like, we don't have the full context, to be fair, but you know, the OP replying to the messages, I don't think they're like swearing and cussing and spamming you while you're at work, if you even have a job, begging you to send them money for like nicotine fixes, okay? I find that hard to believe. And you don't ever help me. I have told people this. This is just manipulation one-on-one. So then you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna leave me then, and like guilt-tripping, and then it's like, I'm telling people you're not there for me as my partner. This is so manipulative. This is so bad. Like, I'm gonna ruin your reputation unless you send me money when I beg you and swear at you. Ooh, why are you together with this person? They sound really gross. When have you helped me out other than buying me food? Bruh, I have never asked you for help or anything like that. You're just gonna piss me off now. You know that thing about you don't take your anger out on your partner? That didn't last very long now, did it? Whatever, because you already pissed me off. I hate my freaking life. This is exactly why I want to jump off the flat earth. I was just trying to brush my teeth and all of a sudden we're dropping F-bombs. I freaking hate my life, bro. I don't want to be alive anymore. See, as soon as I say that, you're our... What? I need to take a break from this conversation. As soon as I start talking about that, you dip. Freaking supportive river. No, here's the thing. You're using it as a manipulation strategy. You begged for money, started cussing at your partner, and started lashing out. And then they said, you can't treat me like this. And then you said, like, oh, I better leave then, so threatening the relationship and holding that over their head. And then you try to be manipulative, saying that you go around to people saying that they're a non-supportive partner, and then you go into this territory all of a sudden, which is like manipulation strategy number 4. And here's the harsh reality of it as well. If this is truly how you feel, your partner cannot fix that for you. To be happy in a relationship, you need to be happy being by yourself first. And especially in this kind of context, now you're just dumping it as a manipulation strategy. As like, oh, you're never there for me as a partner. You've been screaming at them, insulting them, cussing them out, etc., etc. And then you tell, I feel like crap after screaming at them for a while. And then if they're not there for you in that moment when you've been treating them like trash, then they don't care about you and it's all their fault. This is just weaponizing your emotions as an excuse to treat your partner like trash. And as the partner in this situation, you need to leave this relationship, because this isn't something that you're going to be able to fix, because the person, your partner that is texting you in this situation, isn't really interested in solving it. They're using it as a weapon. They're weaponizing their health and their emotions to treat you like trash. This isn't someone who's working through something. This is someone who is just being manipulative. Okay? And that is a very difficult thing to do, but it's the kind of manipulation you can never give into, because then you will never be able to be free. And I hope they get the help they need, but this isn't healthy for either of you. This is a really bad situation. I'll text you when I calm down and feel like I can calmly speak. So support your own boyfriend. You must love me so much. Everything is just seeping a manipulation. This is so nasty. Don't expect me to comfort and support you right after you said frick you to me. That's not how this works. I'm sorry. That was wrong. And like every other thing you said as well. Yeah, you say that, and then you expect me to be at your beck and call right after. But you see how much I'm struggling, and it's literally because I decided to frick around at your house for 6 months. Wait, what? Let me take a freaking minute to chill out so I can calmly talk to you. I literally wouldn't be in this position in life right now if I hadn't come visit you. Okay, whatever, bro. Just ignore me some freaking more like you always freaking do to freaking piss me off more and make me hate my life more and wish I was freaking dead more. Okay, yeah, no, this is not a person you can keep around you in the very least. You're like literally trying to be there for him, be like, hey, I just need to calm down for a second and then we can call. Give me 5 minutes. And they keep spamming, keep swearing at you, keep doing all this kind of stuff. This isn't someone you will ever be able to have a healthy relationship with. This is awful. Didn't you tell me to notify you of when I needed a minute away? And now that I have, you're talking poo to me? Sure, I just don't want to live anymore. I know you don't really care. Sometimes it feels like when you're having a bad day and you're miserable, you just want to make me miserable like you. So you talk me down and talk poo to me. No, that's not it, bro. You birch at me about how I'm not there for you and don't communicate to you, and now that I am, you're still pissed. You don't freaking get my emotions. Nothing is ever enough for you, and you have the audacity to call me ungrateful? No, Harper, you're not communicating. You're talking poo to ke. No, I am not. You're stressing me out, bro. I said I need a minute away from this conversation so I can talk calmly to you, and you didn't like it, even though you told me to tell you these things. I literally can't even brush my teeth until I get paid, bro. Okay, and I'm sorry. I sympathize with you, but that's not an excuse to treat me like garbage. I literally have to walk around with poo breath for the next week. If I had money, I would give you some, but I don't because I'm drowning in hospital bills for Apollo. See, I was in a decent mood until I talked to you. Were you though? Were you though, really? Okay, I doubt that. I was in a decent mood until you talked to me. Whatever. I won't talk to you anymore then. I'm sorry. I just freaking broke as bro. I literally can't even brush my teeth, eat, or put gas in my car. I can't have anything, bro. You freaking get it. This gives me massive addict vibes. I'm gonna be honest. And then the cussing and manipulation on top of it. This is so bad. This is so bad. And it basically keeps going. It keeps going. And here's I hate people, bro. I'm gonna be single the rest of my life and alone. I'm tired of arguing. Well, I'm tired of it. Go ahead and block me. It was great. Oh my god. You don't know when to stop. You don't know when to stop. Look, it's just going. I'm turning off my phone now. Good. It keeps going. Oh my god, man. Okay, the first few messages were bad enough. They gave me very much the vibe of a partner who is addicted to something and needs to fix, and then they lash out at their partner when they won't enable it, right? That gives me the vibe of like a very bad partnership to begin with. But then the rest of the stuff and weaponizing your mental health, weaponizing everything and getting more worked up at your partner, basically just using them as a punching bag, because they already know, the partner has already said like, hey, I don't have any spare money right now, I can't financially help you at this moment, I can listen to your problems if you let me calm down for a second, we can talk about it, but I can't fix this financial thing for you. And then they just keep lashing out over and over and over and over again, and these manipulation strategies and the horrible things they're gonna do if the relationship isn't working. And no, this is so nasty. This is so nasty. You're never gonna be able to fix this person because they're not willing to work on themselves. They're just weaponizing their problems to treat you like absolute garbage. I really hope you find your way out of this relationship and they find a way to get professional help, because this isn't good for anyone. The thing is that you need to be able to function on your own before you can be in a functional relationship. Otherwise it becomes this toxic hyper dependency that this dude seems to be like trickling towards. Like he wants his partner to like just bankroll his bad decisions and his lack of responsibility and what I'm guessing is his addictions basically, and then using his health as weapons to just bash their partner over and over and over again. You're not overreacting. Run away. Am I overreacting? My friend found my husband on Tinder. Oh, here we go. Some good old cheating stories, baby. I, 29F, and my husband, 38M, are expecting our first baby, and I am 30 weeks pregnant. My coworker, who is also a good friend, approached me at work asking, "Does your husband have a brother that looks just like him?" I said, "Yeah, he does. Why?" Then she asked, "Is his name John?" To which I replied, "No, it's not actually." She then explained that she was scrolling Tinder and came across this profile that looked just like my husband. She showed me the screenshots and I was so shocked to see that my husband is currently on Tinder and using a fake name of John. Now, some backstory. We actually met on Tinder and he used the same photos for his profile as he did when I came across his profile. And also the same biography. We met 8 years ago. Okay, like if the profile is really cursed and weird, I could imagine it's someone faking it, right? If it's like, "Oh my god, I really like poop, and I'm a dumb boy, you know, I'm a cheater, blah, blah, blah," then it sounds like a revenge profile someone made, you know? But if the profile reads very serious and is also using a fake name, that sounds more like cheating, man, I'm gonna be honest. I was out of town working, about 100 miles, and my friend has her Tinder set to the furthest distance radius possible when I found out this information. My theory now is he must use Tinder to try and hook up with women while I'm away, as I go out of town for work for a couple of days on a regular basis. Either that or this is a one-off thing. Basically because his Tinder hasn't changed since I met on there, and I'm worried he's had Tinder on and off our whole relationship. Am I overreacting? Should I blow up our whole lives and marriage with a baby on the way? I haven't yet approached him about this because I don't know the best way to go about it, but I have screenshots and everything, and now that I'm back home, I have been distant and he keeps asking me what is wrong. Update. I confronted my husband with news that my friend found his Tinder profile. Many of you have wondered if it's an old account from 8 years ago that he never deleted. To this, I know for a fact it's not. Well, I don't think Tinder pushes profiles that are that old and that inactive for that long to the top. Like, I think it can push some profiles that haven't been active for like maybe a couple of weeks or a month or something, but 8 years? Nah, there's no way. I went back through my old photos and found the screenshots I took of his profile 8 years ago, and it turns out it's not the exact same. Some photos are the same, particularly the first one, so it made me think it was the same profile. Also, the caption is slightly different. The difference is a single emoji. Ah, so he has actually changed the profile a bit, just like in very minor ways. Ooh, then it's definitely not a dead inactive profile. Number 2, the name changed to John. Number 3, the updated selections such as dream job, lifestyle selections, and interests. These all had selections with things that sound like him. These sections are new from when I used Tinder 8 years ago. Above his name and age section of the first picture you come across while swiping Tinder, it says active. I have seen many of you comment and also read online that this means he has been using the account in some capacity recently, as in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. I think Tinder stops pushing accounts after like a couple of weeks or something. It makes sense, right? Because a lot of people don't actually delete their accounts, they just delete the app, right? Number 5, people are also saying Tinder will not recommend profiles of people who are not using the app. They kind of just remove dormant users from the algorithm. Number 6, he is attractive enough to have someone want to use his photos, but reason 1 also rules out the catfishing theory. 2 of the photos are different from the 8 years ago profile. I mean, if you haven't deleted your old profile, for example, you could just reinstall it and check if his profile is still there in your messages and see if it's the same one that your friend has the screenshots of. But that's of course assuming that you still have the app and didn't delete your own profile. But that's one way to verify it, I suppose. So I decided to talk to him rather than put myself through the stress of trying to catch him on a date, if you like pina colada style. But as many of you and myself predicted, he has resorted to gaslighting and lying. He vehemently denies that he has been using Tinder, meeting other women, or that he has had naughties with anyone else, yet offers no explanation for the presence of his Tinder profiles. He implores me to think logically about when he could do this, as he's home with me every night, which is true, but I had to remind him I leave home alone for at least a couple of days per month. He insists that he loves me and is excited for our baby, etc. But when I asked to see his phone, he refused, saying, "I don't want to be that couple who looks through each other's phone." Okay, like out of context, I would sort of agree with that statement. Like, I'm personally not a big fan of having to snoop through each other's things, because then there isn't really a lot of trust there to begin with, right? And the trust issues probably won't go away just because you're snooping through one thing, because then you have to snoop through the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. You know, it's always like this kind of game of trying to prove innocence, which is really hard to do. But in this instance, it's a pretty very specific thing, right? It's about one specific profile. It's about a Tinder thing. It's not about snooping through everything, because it's this general distrust, which is probably not healthy for the relationship. This is about one very specific thing, which should be easy enough to show. That is not really comparable to like snooping through everything versus just like, hey, this one profile looks weird, can we just check this one thing together? That's different. That is different. So therefore, I don't agree with this logic in this specific context. I told them, given this situation, if you won't let me check your phone, then I cannot trust or believe you, and we'll have to assume the worst. In my mind, we had been pretty happy and content recently. Things have just felt good. This just goes to show you never really know a person. I believe there must be something deeply wrong with him or our relationship to want to cheat, especially at this happy time. Honestly, people cheat for all kinds of stupid reasons, to be honest, and it's rarely particularly logical or whatever, and it usually only catches up with them when they're caught about it. So, you know, if he actually is cheating, he's probably been doing it for a long time, so, yeah. I've moved into the guest bedroom for now, while I plan my next move. And yes, I will be getting an STD check. Thank you all for the advice, support, and kind words. It's instilled a sense of confidence in me to handle this. Yeah, that is really sussy, right? Like the looking through the phone part, for example. I think there is a distinct difference between someone asking to like, hey, always, snoop through every single thing you ever have because they generally don't trust you, which means that the relationship probably isn't in a good spot to begin with, versus, hey, I saw this one very specific odd thing, can we double check it from your end just to verify it's not true because it came from an outside source. It's not just a general vibe of distrust, it's something very specific. That is something that if he's innocent, he should have easily done. It's like, oh yeah, no, I haven't done anything. Here's my phone, check my old profile or reinstall the app or whatever, and you can verify for yourself that isn't the case, That would be so easy. And then it would be like, oh, okay, so I guess it's someone catfishing or Tinder doing something weird with data or, whatever. It would be so easy to debunk. The fact that he's willing to put his own marriage in the balance because he doesn't want to show you one app on his phone. Yeah, that's kind of a massive red flag, I'm gonna be honest. Am I overreacting? Called the police after an Amazon driver left me this note. Ooh, it's written on like a carton. Nothing has stopped me in my tracks. Quite like the way your hair lushingly, had that pretty smile beneath your sparkling eyes. Since that moment, I haven't forgotten your face. I look to you only just get that off my chest and seek to do nothing of the sort again. That is if this is fine by you, the Amazon guy. At least he didn't resort to like asterisks roleplay, okay? That's half a gold star. The rest is just really creepy shit. Okay, this is bad. Don't do this. Am I overreacting? Girlfriend uses ex's phone to text me. Wait, what? Do we have more cheating stories?
Hey baby, it's Blorp. My phone died and I'm using Blorp to let you know I'm okay. Love you so much.
What the frick? Why are you using Blorp's phone? Why is he even with you? I thought you were supposed to be with Blorp.
It's not that big of a deal. We seen him while walking around, so he started hanging out with us. And she was at the restroom, so I used his.
That's really sussy. You're telling me that a text to your boyfriend letting him know that your phone died couldn't wait like the 45 seconds it takes for your friend to get back from the restroom? I think she's alone with her ex, I'm gonna be honest. It's not that big of a deal. You're hanging out with your ex. If I just all of a sudden started hanging out with my ex, you would have flipped. Let me go hang out with my ex since it's not that big of a deal.
Whatever, it's not like I planned hanging out with him anyway. Stop being mad for no reason.
Lemma, alright, I'll talk to you later. Just to update everyone, she came over and talked and she broke down crying and told me the truth. She was never with her friend. She was with him at his house and she did cheat on me. Wow, who could have seen that coming? She was crying hysterically and said she wants me and only me. Post-nut clarity, baby, hell yeah. Like I was gonna take her back. I said hell no and kicked her out and threw everything of hers in the front lawn. Thanks to everyone who left comments. You guys are amazing. Ah, the cheating post-nut clarity. Isn't that beautiful? Now there is no horny, there is only guilt. Isn't that beautiful? Am I overreacting for being offended at this girl possibly suggesting I am a P-word? I'm sorry, what? Yes, we have an actual custody agreement.
Oh wow, does that include the child that isn't biologically yours?
Yeah, he isn't on the court order, but I still get him every weekend and holiday.
Oh, okay. Does he see his biological dad?
Nope, never has. Well, once when he was 2 weeks old, but that's it. I am the only dad in his life.
Wow.
What?
She trusts that you aren't a P-word?
Where did that come from? He's just being a stepdad. Okay, that's a pretty normal thing to... What on earth? What? He's 15. I have raised him since he was 2. Where did that even come from?
What do you mean, where did it come from?
I don't understand why you would even say that.
Well, isn't it a legit fear for single mothers?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure, but it's been 13 years since I got introduced to him, and we lived together for 10 years, so I don't see the point of bringing that up in a current conversation. It's a really, really weird thing to bring up, right? It's like, imagine you're like on a date with someone, and it's going well, you're a couple of dates in, and someone just tells you like, aren't you worried your partner is a mass murderer? Like, what? Where is this coming from? It's a really weird thing to just bring up out of nowhere. This has been a family unit for like 13 years. Who are you to come into this picture and toss around allegations? That is insane.
When you were living together, it was relevant. If you're alone with the children, I think it would be relevant. It was just a question.
You took a screenshot of chat. This person is unhinged. This person is absolutely unhinged. I would have dipped on this so fast. This is the kind of person who would probably make up wild shit just to verify their like wild allegations. This gives me really rancid vibes. And now we get to the controversial sorting of the video. It's about to get way worse. Am I overreacting? My wife announced she is asexual. My 39M wife, 28F, and I were very recently married. We dated for a little over 9 months before I proposed, and she accepted. We never had any intimacy during that 9 months. I asked a few times, but she always said no. Okay, wait a second, so you were never intimate while you were dating, right? And she said no repeatedly, and you obviously wanted it, but you never just sat down and talked about it and be like, hey, are we compatible in this way? You just went straight to marriage. Holy non-communication, Batman. I figured she was waiting until marriage, and I was fine with that. I figured, I'm gonna be honest, why didn't you sit down and talk about this? This seems like such a lack of communication. This is insane. Oh, she said no? I guess she's waiting until marriage. But you didn't ask? That seems like a pretty big thing you should ask about. What? Now the wedding and ensuing honeymoon came along. I assumed we've been doing what most newlyweds do on their honeymoons, but again she said no. This time, however, she explained further and told me she is asexual. She finds the thought of having naughties with me or anyone absolutely disgusting. I admittedly got a little heated, not because we weren't going to have naughties that night, but because I think this is something she should have told me long before we got married. You guys are just marrying strangers, aren't you? You're just picking random people off the street hoping it works out. You're just getting married and be like, oh my god, it didn't work out. Who the f*** would have thunk it? That's pretty much what I told her, and she said I have no right being upset over her naughty orientation. I mean, that is technically true, but it feels like something that maybe you guys should have talked about before getting married. Oh my god! I've had some time to cool down and think things through. I still absolutely love her. She's an amazing person. We always gotten along like best friends since the day I met her. Get a divorce. Get a divorce for God's sake. This is gonna get so toxic real fast. I don't want a divorce, but I'm certainly not going to start cheating on her. But I do feel like she lied to me, and it's not unreasonable for me to be a little angry. I'm not upset over her naughty orientation, as she put it. I'm upset that she kept something so major like that from me until now. Am I overreacting? You're both idiots. You're both absolutely non-communicative morons. And that is not because of anyone's orientation. Both orientations are fine. It's fine that you want to do intimate things with your partner, and it's fine that she's asexual. But the fact that you didn't talk about this before getting married is absolutely unhinged. It is unbelievable. So you didn't have anything intimate going on during the whole time you were dating. And you were just like, I guess she's waiting until marriage. She doesn't say anything about her orientation. You don't ask, and you just get married and be like, oh, I guess we're gonna start having naughties once we're married, but no one talks about it. And then it turns out like, oh, your orientations are just completely zoot. Oh my god, man. People just make problems in their own life, don't they? What? Am I overreacting? Husband and I got into a small argument yesterday. I am 2 months pregnant, and he decided to skip my doctor's appointment today to go fishing. I am tired of giving him chances at times. Okay, that's a weird title. Anyway, F33, husband is 34. We've been married since 2020, but got a divorce months into our marriage. Okay, so you literally have an on and off marriage. That's a great start. I reconnected with him back in 2023, and we had a few one-night stands. I ended up getting preggo, even though I was really opposed to having a kid, and gave birth in October. You know condoms are a thing, right? Anyway, I went through PPD, postpartum depression, I guess, and did some not cool things as a mom, and we lost custody of our first kid. Okay, what are these not cool things that you did? So you lost custody of your child. That seems very vague of something that sounds very serious, okay? The rest I won't talk about because I learned from my mistakes. Yes, indeed. I'm not going to elaborate why I literally lost custody of my first child because I have totally learned from it. That's why I'm making this post. This is not going to go well, is it? My husband and I ended up getting preggo again in May. It wasn't planned, but we couldn't be more thrilled. I had a miscarriage before this baby, so we're grateful for a second chance. I mean, you literally lost custody of your first child. Have you checked how the last child is doing? Is it stuck in foster care, or does it have a good family, or like, no, you're just gonna keep breeding even though you're like mentally fucking 10 years old? Oh my god, man. Yesterday, my husband and I went to Target, and we got into a little argument. We were shopping, and he was buying some Pokemon cards. We scanned and paid for our own stuff. Okay, so your text is about arguing about Pokemon cards, but you gloss over the fact that you just keep breeding, pooping out babies, and then just leaving them to the wind and just keep having more babies with an on and off partner, and you both seem to be ridiculously mature. Okay, maybe the focal point is a little bit off here. We scanned and paid for our stuff, went back to our apartment, and he realized that we forgot to grab the bag of his cards at Target, so we drove back. He was mad at me for not forgetting to take our groceries, but somehow forgetting to grab his cards. It was whatever though. He went to Target while I was in the car waiting. I had to use the restroom while waiting, so I went into Target. I also was trying to be nice, and I got Starbucks for him and I. When I came back out of Target, I couldn't find the car. He drove by and told me that he wasn't thinking and almost accidentally drove off without me. He didn't realize I wasn't in the car until he started driving. This seems like the pettiest little bullshit arguments. I'm gonna be honest, you're literally like popping up babies and abandoning them to the wind. Like, oh my god, foster system, here we go. It's a little bit of a hit or miss. I hope it works out fine. Anyway, let's have another baby. Hopefully we don't lose custody over this one. But the whole story is arguing like, you forgot groceries in a Target, and then it's like, bathroom. What? Which infuriated me. Oh, you weren't infuriated by the first child that you lost custody over, I guess. We ended up not talking for the rest of the night, but he knew that I had a doctor's appointment today, and ended up going fishing instead. I'm just tired of giving him chances to act like a husband. Re-edit. Look, I'm not a horrible parent who will end up on the news. It wasn't even mine or my man's fault why our firstborn was taken away from us. But you said you did some uncool things as a mom and lost custody of it. But now it's not your fault, but you're not gonna talk about it because you learned from your mistakes, but you didn't do anything wrong. Okay, which one is it? It was because his dumb aunt or great aunt, don't care what she is to my husband, works for the system. It's the system, it's the Matrix. And threw a fit over the fact that we were living in a car with our firstborn. I cannot imagine. You're living out of the back of a car with a small child. I cannot imagine how unhygienic that is. Oh my god. We got evicted back in February from our last apartment and were forced to do van life. My dumb sister-in-law, his stupid sister, because everyone is stupid. It's the system's fault, it's the aunt's fault, his stupid sister, but you're the one losing custody, pooping out babies, and can't maintain this relation. You should not have children. You should not have children, because you are mentally a child yourself. Fucking hell. His stupid sister, who lives a perfect life, told his aunt about our situation, and his dumb aunt forced us to give up our child to her. Okay, so at the very least a child is with like extended family, right? And hopefully has a good home that isn't literally living in the trunk of a car while they probably need, hygienic things and proper care. Okay, that isn't as bad as it could have ended up. But I mean, the family around you still has to like pick up babies, literally, and I'm assuming it was pretty bad, right? Because it's not like you can just randomly kidnap babies. Like, this was something that had to go through the system, probably be approved by a judge, to the point where you were deemed as unfit parents. So this is probably pretty bad, and you're sitting here arguing about, like, I forgot a bag of Pokemon cards in the store, and my husband, the bathroom, and then, parking. You're just picking up babies and leaving them to the wind. You're unhinged. Oh my god, what is the story? What is the story? Stop breeding, for God's sake. Am I overreacting? Is it unreasonable that I want my husband to take care of me when I'm pregnant as a surrogate? Ooh, this sounds like complicated family situations galore. We've been together for 10 years. I have 2 kids of my own, and I am pregnant with my sister and her husband's baby. I agreed to be their surrogate, and my husband wasn't left out of the conversation, and he felt alright with my decision. I mean, if I read a bit between the lines here, even though he was part of the conversation, it must be a pretty difficult situation to be in, because then he would feel like he's saying no and making decisions about your body. He would probably also be kind of like the black sheep of the family, because I'm guessing your parents are excited about the grandkid, your sister is excited about the child, you want to be the surrogate thing. So, like, sure, he was probably part of the discussion, but that must be a difficult situation to be put in. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm almost 6 months along, and I'm huge. I have been extra sensitive to stuff, and physically, I am exhausted. I do recognize why my husband cannot be at my beck and call like he used to when I was pregnant with our kids. However, sometimes I think he's just being indifferent and cold, and I feel like he doesn't care about me. I understand how dynamics can change because my sister and her husband are mainly responsible for taking care of me. I mean, yeah, it's technically their child that you're carrying, so they should definitely pick up a lot of the slack when it comes to physical things you can't do, or care, or running errands and that kind of stuff. because that's just a fair thing to do, because you're putting on all the labor, literally the labor, that they would have been doing otherwise. So yeah, they should definitely be picking up a lot of slack if that's the case. But I didn't expect my husband to pretend like he doesn't have to do anything. He thinks he is reasonable with me, but I find his actions to be otherwise. Ever since I got pregnant, my husband has never gone out of his way to make me happy. For example, one day I was really upset about a specific menu item from one of my favorite restaurants out of stock, and about 11 p.m. at night, I asked my husband if he can drive me around to the other branch 25 minutes away to get that food for me. He refused. He would only go as far as to pick up items I like in case he's grocery shopping, never when I make any special requests. I mean, sure, expecting that kind of stuff when you're pregnant with your child probably makes perfect sense, because pregnancies are difficult, you're in it together, and you want to make your partner as happy and comfortable as possible while going through all of that. But this seems like something your sister should do in that case, because they are the one who wants the baby. This just sounds like something that should have been talked about before that point. And also, you have 2 small kids already, right? So driving around at midnight must be a pretty demanding thing to do. This sounds like something that should have just been talked about before the surrogacy thing. Like, hey, I'm not sure if you guys know, because you probably haven't been pregnant, but it comes with a lot of cravings and stuff. And when I want, pick up food from specific places at midnight, I expect you to do that because I'm literally carrying your baby and going through the dangers of pregnancy for 9 months for your sake. So you better be doing these craving errands for me. That sounds like something that should have been talked about beforehand, instead of just kind of like surprise dumping it on someone, right? The first 2 times I was pregnant, I used to get a back massage and foot rubs very frequently, and now I don't see him volunteering, or even when I request him, he would say he's too tired. I mean, to be fair, it also sounds like the situation has changed, because when you were pregnant, like the first time, for example, it was only the 2 of you, and your partner is pregnant. But this time it's not your child, but you also have 2 other small kids running around the household, which I imagine is way more demanding for you two as a couple already. So the situation is more demanding, and that's why also it's more important for your sister and the husband to pick up the slack, right? To be fair, he doesn't generally give me massages when I'm not pregnant, and we've had a little inside joke that him massaging me is my pregnancy privilege. I'm also pregnant right now, and it confuses me. Honestly, this whole text is just giving me the vibes that this should have been way more clearly communicated ahead of time. Like, being a surrogate is a massive undertaking, right? And it also affects, of course, your partner and the household, because you won't be able to do as much, which means that he's probably gonna pick up slack. If he's doing that, we don't know the entire context of the story. Maybe he's just lazy around the house. Who knows? But I'm assuming he picks up more slack when she's being pregnant. But it also means that the people who are gonna take the baby after it's popping out should also be picking up more of the slack. That just seems fair, and they should also be the ones driving her to doctor's appointments and that sort of stuff. That seems like the fair thing to do in this situation. It feels wild to me that all of this is up in the air and in some kind of gray zone, like who should pick it up, when this should have been very much communicated ahead of time for such a big decision. Worst of all, he seems to have forgotten how to give me the benefit of the doubt when I'm hormonal and get a little snappy with him. I do recognize when I'm overreacting, but that moment of realization only comes when that said moment of being snippy has passed. It feels like he's not emotionally supportive or even cared to give me a hug, and keep telling me to be rational and not act crazy when I let the hormones get the better of me. It's almost as if he's forgotten that my emotions can be out of control. He retreats back to take space and refuses to talk to me and comfort me unless I apologize first. Man, this whole situation just sounds like an absolute mess. I'm a bit surprised this was taken on so lightly, when all of you know how difficult pregnancies can be, especially since you've been through it 2 times already, right? But now there's also small kids in the pictures running around that needs to be taken to school and daycare and the doctor and everything. This is putting a lot of strain on a life that's already kind of busy, doesn't it? I am surprised all this stuff wasn't communicated beforehand, because damn, this sounds like an overloaded equation. All of this makes me feel so angry and unloved and undesirable. I feel like a burden to him. Now, I don't expect him to drive me around to appointments, but I still expect him to care for me, damn it. I am his wife, and I am only worthy of his pampering and his attention when I'm carrying his child. Yeah, this is giving me difficult vibes, man. This sounds like something that should have been communicated with the whole family way before it ever hit this point. This doesn't sound healthy at all. He treats me like I'm not pregnant at all. He doesn't take kindly to my hormonal meltdowns and doesn't give me grace. He isn't lenient with me, and I am just frustrated. I've tried talking about my feelings to him, and he just says that it's not his responsibility, and if I want any special cravings in the middle of the night or cook for me, I should ask my sister and not my husband. I mean, that's actually kind of valid, because if they were having the pregnancy in the relationship, so to say, which I'm guessing they couldn't, that's why it's a surrogate situation. They would be the ones doing those kind of things anyway, so it seems more than fair that if she is taking on the pregnancy and the physical dangers that comes with it, then they should be the ones running these kind of errands as well, right? That just seems fair? No? I get that. I'm mostly in contact with my sister, but I live with my husband full time. Is it really that unreasonable for me to expect that my husband shows that he loves me and cares about me? Before I made this decision to get preggo, I asked for his permission and he could veto this if he wanted. He knew what pregnancy implies, he worked with me to develop contingency plans, and he wasn't left out of the conversation at all. I am aware of how my post sounded because it was just a lot of pent-up feelings. I can recognize when it's a bit too much of ask for him, and I always make a point to show him how much I appreciate him when he can do these small things for me. However, isn't it your duty as a partner to make sure they feel loved and taken care of? I certainly wouldn't mind cooking him his favorite meal at the end of his day if he was particularly tired and wanted to feel better. Yes, I can be unreasonable in some of my requests, but I don't see how any request I have from my husband is invalid or entitled. He also said he's not attracted to my body and shuts me down whenever I try to initiate intimacy. It's honestly so hurtful. Ooh, that sounds bad. Oh man. Yeah, this whole thing sounds like a really, really bad recipe for this relationship, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, nah, man. It sounds like it really sucks for her, and she is going through the motions and don't know who she should lean on for support. And I also think it's very frustrating for the husband because he's kind of getting dumped on with some of the things that, of course, you're expecting to take on when your partner's pregnant and you're going through it together and you want to make a family. But in this instance, it's a surrogate situation, so you would definitely expect most of that slack to be picked up by the surrogacy people, right? Like a sister in this situation. It sounds like this is just really frustrating and bad for everyone, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to be seen as an inconvenience. I'm a person too and I'm struggling and just want my husband to be a little supportive and gentle with me. Like he's supposed to be my partner, regardless of whether I'm preggo or not. If I need support, or support because I'm uncomfortable and feelings unheard, not this baby. I need him to see my needs outside of this baby. FYI, I will move in with my sister in the last few weeks before I'm due because her home is very far from my workplace. That's probably a good idea, but it also means that the sister lives far away from them, which obviously is gonna make the whole thing up to that point way more difficult, right? Because they can't come over on a last minute notice to run errands or help out with driving stuff around or whatever. This sounds like a super difficult situation that was very, very underestimated ahead of time, right? This sounds like the kind of thing you need to discuss very specific plans and boundaries with, like, okay, who's expected to pick up what? Who do I call or lean on or expect this kind of stuff when I'm having this craving or need this errand or need this appointment or whatever it is? Also keep in mind, of course, that the situation is different because you already have small kids. It's not like the first pregnancy where it's only the partners and no other kids. It's only like the pregnancy and life in general to worry about. Now it's like life in general, this pregnancy and your own kids. It's a lot. And also if your sister is living far away, this just sounds like a very, very big situation and a very big life decision that wasn't taken seriously enough ahead of time. It sounds like poor planning, and this should have been way better communicated when leading up to it, because, man, I can just imagine. That must be very difficult for everyone there. Well, laddies, lasses, and lassos, I do hope you enjoyed this little journey through r/AmIOverreacting. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to see more of this in the future. In the meantime, take care of yourself because you do deserve it, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Mwah.